everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I've got some really exciting news. I'm going to be interviewing Peter Chan from Hermanus Bonsai. So a lot of us South Africans don't actually know he's been to South Africa. So this interview will have some insightful bits of his time in South Africa. There's so many people in South Africa who just love you so much. And I thought, a few of us South Africans have asked, a few questions. So I thought I'm going to be the messenger and kind of take it back to South Africa.
Happy to do so.
Awesome. So the first question I've got, for those of you who are new to the world of bonsai, can you just briefly explain, the background and how you got into bonsai?
I consider myself an amateur because unlike nowadays where quite a few of these youngsters, they go to Japan, spend the full 5-year apprenticeship with these great bonsai masters and stylists. They do that, so that is proper training. Of course, China doesn't produce that sort of training scheme because they don't have the facilities, although they don't have the tradition like the Japanese have.
Completely.
It may come about, but more of the bonsai world like the Japanese style of bonsai. So there's a big following in bonsai style of Japan. So especially in America and many from Europe, quite a few Italians and Germans have gone to Japan to train with masters to do the full apprenticeship. I never did anything like that. I'm very proud that I'm self-taught.
Taught, yeah.
There's nothing,
Yeah.
No, there's no shame or disgrace. I'm very proud that I taught myself bonsai.
Of course.
So how I came into bonsai is purely by accident. I came into bonsai as a hobby. So I'm a hobbyist really at heart. So if you want the full story, I'll tell it to you. I came to this country in 1963 from India.
Sure.
So in all the colonial countries, South Africa, of course, is one of them.
Yeah.
The Brits ruled the empire.
Of course.
And they encouraged people from all parts of the empire to go to all the different colonies. So my grandfather went to India in 1890 to set up business.
My goodness.
And they were great carpenters. So they built all the railway carriages and wagons and the trams in Calcutta, which was like the capital of the British Empire in those days. So we were 3 generations in India. My father was born there, I was born there.
Sure.
And I did my education there. But then in '62, there was a very bad war between India and China where they're disputing the northern boundary near the Himalayas. So all the Chinese got interned. I was lucky I didn't get interned, so we fled India and then came to this country. So I've been in this country for a long time. In fact, I married my English pen friend when I was in college in India. When I was 20, she was 15. We were corresponding. So I married her in '63. No, I came in '63. I married her in '66. This is where the bonsai begins. Our first home, we were fortunate enough in those days to be able to buy a brand new apartment. That was in the days before inflation.
Yeah.
So we could
it was
buy.
easy to buy something. Yeah.
We could buy a 2-bedroom apartment, brand new one, which had just been constructed, for £4,500.
My goodness.
Those same apartments are selling for like £500,000, £500,000
Wow.
now. So that was what?
It just
60
shows,
years
it just
ago.
shows you, yeah.
60 years ago, mind
Yeah.
you. 60 years ago, you could afford to buy it.
Do you
now
find
you can't.
Let me stop you there just for a second. Do you find that bonsai has increased in value?
Yes, of course it has.
Yeah. So I suppose what you bought some of your trees for.
In the 70s, it was worth much more. So let me continue the story. So when we got married in '66, our first home was an apartment, what we call a flat, and it had a huge balcony. I also, at the time, was very interested in ceramics. So in the evenings, we had nothing to do, so we used to go to evening class to learn how to do pottery.
Oh, wow.
And my wife used to go and learn how to do tailoring, making fancy suits and trouser suits and all sorts of things. Well, I did pottery. And of course, making pottery and living in an apartment, I used to make pots just to save money to grow plants.
To grow plants in.
And I saw some pictures of Chinese bonsai in these bonsai pots. So I copied some of those pots and started putting little shrubs in them to
Okay.
copy the bonsai. That's
Yeah.
how I learned.
Wow. Okay.
So all my knowledge is from experimentation. And I think that is still the best way to get started, because unless you experiment and try it yourself,
Yeah.
you don't really learn, you know.
It's trial and error.
You're trying it yourself. I'm not learning from
Books
anyone
give
else.
you a good vision of
Yeah.
what you want to do.
So
but
much of my teaching is from that point of view. So I guess people like my channel because I show people how to dig up little seedlings from the woods or from the forest.
yeah, it's very relatable to what
and
they...
from gardens, and make it yourself.
Of course.
You know, not buying these expensive bonsai, just styling it and carving it.
Exactly.
That's a different sort of bonsai.
Yeah, and it's relatable, and it's what bonsai really should
So that's
be.
how I got into bonsai. Purely because I lived
Okay.
in an apartment and
Okay.
I was making ceramics.
It's
I still have my first bonsai pot that I made
Interesting. Sure. Yeah, I'd
here.
love
In
to see that later.
1967. Okay.
It's interesting because that's exactly how I also got into bonsai.
Yeah.
Is living in a small apartment,
Yeah.
wanted to get my hands dirty,
Yeah.
and bonsai is perfect for that. So I always feel like you never have to have a big garden,
Yeah, my philosophy, also the reason why I have such a big following, is that you don't have to spend masses of money. You just make do with ordinary plants that you can dig up or buy from nurseries and
Of
garden
course.
centers and convert them into bonsai. And that is the fun of bonsai.
Definitely.
It's not about money, because although we are a nursery, we sell very expensive bonsai, really expensive bonsai. You could buy a Range Rover for this.
For the amount of money they'll sell.
They pay on a
and
tree.
not everyone has that budget. So
Yeah.
so it's nice, yeah. So here's another question. You've been practicing bonsai for decades.
60 years.
Yeah, how has your philosophy evolved over time?
Well, I don't think it has changed. It hasn't
It's-
changed one bit. I believe in the simple approach, making it accessible to people, not frightening, and then you can do it attitude. You can do it.
That's a really nice approach. Yeah, I think people will value that. And then, yeah, so what do you believe are the most common misconceptions people have about bonsai?
Well, the usual ones. If you go
Yeah.
to any flower show, they say bonsai is cruel to trees, isn't it? The other day, some person commented on one of my videos, he say, "You're being cruel to trees." So
trees.
I didn't have to respond to it. Someone else
yeah?
commented, "Don't you cut your toenails? Don't you cut your hair?" It's exactly the same thing.
So if I asked you that, is that what you would
Yeah,
respond to?
that's right.
Yeah.
You cut your
No.
toenails, you cut your hair.
Yeah.
So how cruel is that?
Or the funny question is, many people ask that, and then you say, "Oh, you must have a beautiful rose garden," and
You prune your
"Oh,
roses.
Oh, yeah. It's the
Look at the
exact
lawn.
same."
You mow your grass.
Of course, definitely.
And if you eat vegetables, you shouldn't be killing the vegetable. You're killing the plants.
You're killing the plants. So it
So
just
they're
makes
not
complete
logical.
sense.
People are not logical.
Of course, but I think people will value that question because I think people do, and that whole sense of karma and so on. But I think it's only going to give back to you. Bonsai should only give back to you. So here's another
That's a
question.
common
yeah?
one. That's a common
Yeah,
one.
very common. That's actually a great one.
Yeah, and they also think that bonsai is for indoors because they say it's such a small plant. It must be very tender and delicate. Not so.
And I think it's that misconception in the Japanese culture of bringing them
In the house,
indoors but
yes.
keeping them outside.
That's right.
So another question is, what advice would you give beginners in terms of choosing their first bonsai tree?
It depends what country you live in, because if you live in a country like throughout Europe, we are able to import trees from China and Japan, so you can get very good quality bonsai which have been imported from those source countries
Of
where they
course.
grow them. So that's not difficult. But you go to another place, I've just come back from Bermuda, where you're not allowed to import anything. So they got to make it from their ordinary plants, and it is so difficult to make. So it would take 15 years to make a plant, so you've got to sell it for a lot of money. You know?
And I suppose also looking at your day-to-day life. Don't
Yeah.
get a maple if you
That's
work
right.
and travel
That's
a lot,
right.
Get
Yeah.
something like a speckboom, which is very common in
So
South
it depends
Africa.
what is available. So if people are producing their own bonsai, which I guess in South Africa they're producing their own olive bonsai, I believe.
Of course.
Privet. So things which are growing naturally in your environment, they would be the easiest ones to take care of.
Completely.
So use those sort of things.
Yeah.
Ficus, I guess, would grow quite well where
Ficuses
you are.
are always a good
Yeah.
hit, yeah.
But I believe in the Cape they can grow maples.
So yeah, so we get, I mean, I've got some beautiful maples
Yeah.
living in Johannesburg, but you know, I've dedicated my life to my trees. So watering 3 to 4 times a day is essential.
Must be very hot.
But you know, the colors, we get really beautiful colors
Oh.
because you know, we've got so much sunshine.
Oh.
So yeah, so I mean, maples are definitely possible, but I wouldn't recommend
Yeah.
someone maybe
Okay.
starting out with one of those. Yeah, so you've known for simple, complex techniques. Can you share a technique or principle that you think is most underrated?
Depends what techniques you're talking of. There is the growing aspect, how to
Yes.
propagate trees, you know. So propagating from seed and all.
Of course.
There's a skill involved. So you got
Yeah.
to learn the mechanics of sowing from seed.
Seed.
Then in bonsai, we have this quick method of making air layerings. There are tricks to do that. So this is the bread and butter technical side of it. I'm not talking of the artistic side yet.
Of course, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
how to produce them, how to keep the plant alive.
Yeah.
So those can be learned.
Okay.
There are tricks specific to bonsai, like air layering is only used in bonsai, nothing else. And then, of course, keeping the tree alive is the first thing. How to grow them well, how to feed them. So unless you have a strong, healthy plant, you
Yeah.
can't even style it.
Of course,
So
that
that is the
is-
basic, you know.
And people want to always jump in, so it's learning how to care for
Keep
them
it
and
alive.
keeping them alive.
And then style it.
That-
Once you reach that stage, then you can start, you know, styling it and doing
Yeah,
all sorts of funny
that's
things
very
to
wise.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So, do you think bonsai should evolve with contemporary trends or just remain traditional?
No, it is evolving. I've seen some displays, I won't mention which. I've seen 1 or 2 displays especially in America, where they're using different types of pots, you know, suspending them in midair on all sorts of contraptions. So it's nice that
Yeah.
they are inventing new styles of display, inventing new styles of trees. For instance, garden trees. No one would ever make a garden tree like that, multi-trunk pine.
Not
But
at
I
all.
did see in parts of Japan, they do use garden trees like that. So even in Japan, they're evolving, not just the traditional shape of tree like an S.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you have to.
And I think-
yes, anyone in any art will know that unless the art actually evolves and meets the demands of fashion and time, it will be a dead art. It will die a natural
Of
death.
course. And I think it's good to know the guidelines, but you need to break those rules sometimes.
Yes, of course.
You know,
yeah.
it's important. Else you just
Yeah.
stay you stagnate through life. Yeah. So many of our viewers may not know this, but Peter's actually visited South Africa. Can you tell us a little bit more about
Maybe
your time
because
there?
they're too young.
Yeah.
Well, when you were talking to me, I brought out this book. Look at this
Look
notebook.
how cool that is.
PC South Africa 98.
98.
So I went there in 98. I've got the
Yeah.
actual dates.
Okay.
So in this book, there are all sorts of things.
Oh,
The
wow.
person who invited me was a guy called Charles Poole. I think he is a mixed race, Charles and Sandy Poole. And the address is 26 Cooper Crescent, Beacon Bay, East London.
East London.
East
wow.
London. So he invited me, so he took me all over the place.
Okay.
So I started off in East London, then went to PE, Port Elizabeth, and then from there I went to the Cape, and then the Cape to Joburg. I've got some Joburg addresses as well.
Sure.
So how about this? This is Charles Spires, is it?
Okay.
12 Newbury, what is it, Street?
Newberry Street. Yeah.
Bracken, Downs.
Bracken Down. So that's, I think, in the
Joburg,
south of
okay.
Johannesburg, yes?
And then there's another address, there's an Eastern Cape, someone who's growing Lowlands Nursery,
Beautiful.
Eastern Cape. And then there's another one in Cape Town.
Oh, wow.
I stayed with this gentleman called Thies Clem,
Okay.
and he was a teacher, school teacher. So this was in Cape Town. I loved Cape Town.
Yeah.
I love Cape Town
I
very
also
much.
heard that you wanted to buy a house in
I
Hermanus.
nearly
was
bought-
Was it Hermanus?
Yes, I tell you, there was a
Okay.
story. One of my British friends, he used to work in the Royal Dockyards in Portsmouth, but they
Okay.
bought a place in the Cape overlooking the bay. And because in 95, 96, 98, there was so much trouble going on, he was getting scared.
Scared, okay.
And people were,
were
fleeing
the
from,
country,
fleeing the country. So he wanted to get rid of that penthouse flat.
Wow.
He
okay.
offered it to me for £30,000. I could have paid him cash for it.
£30,000.
I believe those are worth millions now. I refused it.
Millions and millions.
I said,
yeah.
how often would I go to the Cape, So I didn't buy it, but I should
do you
have bought
regret
it.
it?
No, I don't regret anything in life.
That's also a nice philosophy,
so, to tell you what happened was that I have the dates. So I ended up visiting South Africa in April, I think, of that year.
Oh, wow, okay.
Okay.
So
no, September, sorry. 22nd September. That would be in your spring, is it?
Yeah.
So I went to East London, 22nd, 23rd, 24th.
Sure.
And
so
then
I must have been about 6 years old.
Is it? To the 26th, and then I think I was on one whole week on the eastern side.
Beautiful. So is
and
this
then
a bit of like a journal of your time there?
Yeah, my time there. And I met Rudy. I met Rudy as well.
Yeah, Rudy Adams, very well known.
And there was this guy, Carl Morrow, who is from Cape. I don't know whether he's still around. If he sees this, he may pick it up.
We'll definitely...
See, that is Rudy Adams' nursery.
Beautiful. Sure.
So I met Rudy Adam.
Are these some photos you have?
Yes.
Really nice. Yes. Oh my goodness.
Who's that? Is that Rudy?
So let me have a
look.
That's
Carl Morrow.
Yeah, that's Carl Morrow.
Carl Morrow.
Yeah, let me see if I can.
They
I'll
were
try
burning
to put these photos
the
in.
vines and the...
Oh, cool.
They were burning the vines
sure.
for barbecue
looks like
whatever.
a nice campfire. I'll try to put these photos in.
All right, sure, yeah, you're welcome
I'll take a photo for
take picture
everyone.
of it.
Really nice. Yeah, that is Rudy Adams.
So I'm glad I kept that book.
He looks so young there.
Yeah, anyway. So there you are.
Sure, that's incredible.
So the sort of plants you were growing there, I have here. Comifera erythrina, Ficus bird-davii, the African olive, Olea africanus, Ficus natal, Pyracanthus celtis, and then you have a cabbage tree.
Yeah, so our celtis is very similar to your hackberry.
Is it?
So,
see, I still have Rudy Adam email.
Wow.
rabonsai@global.za or whatever.
That's incredible. So do you like to journal quite a bit?
No, not a lot.
Not. So this is
I
just
usually
when you
make
went
notes
on your
when I go
travels.
abroad here.
Amazing.
Yeah, because when I go to Japan, I also keep notes. What are these South African names? Lynn Reynolds, I think.
Yes, Lynn Reynolds.
She was the one.
So from Edenvale.
Yeah, okay.
Wow. And then Observatory, Bramley, Highlands
Duncan
North.
I think he now lives in this country.
Okay.
You make
Roosevelt Park. So you can see Peter has really been around South Africa.
All right, so there you are.
There's the proof. Let me pop these back in and I'll take a photo for everyone
How
later.
about this name? Dorothy and Ziggy France.
Yes.
Claremont. Where's Claremont? Where's Claremont?
So Claremont, sure. I'm just trying to think. South Africa's so big.
Is that in the Cape?
I think that is in the Cape, yeah. Oh. Claremont, yeah, definitely in the Cape, yeah. So we've got another question.
I have lovely memories of SA. I love the Cape because I was very fond of cycads. I still have one or two cycads. And I think the Kirstenbosch Botanical Gardens, they have the finest collection of cycads.
Beautiful trees.
Yeah.
And they've got a beautiful collection of bonsai at the moment.
Is it? Oh.
Yeah, so really stunning. But yeah, incredible cycads. I think we might have one of the oldest cycads.
The woody eye.
Yes, that's in Durban.
Yeah.
Have you,
Encephalatos woody eye, I think it is.
That's incredible. You can see the wisdom's coming right out. Let me see over here.
I'd love to go to SA again.
Yeah, I think you should all come visit us. I think we'll all welcome you with open arms. So what has bonsai taught you about life and patience?
No, I believe that whatever you do in life, you can learn from it.
Yeah.
You don't have to be doing bonsai. You could be doing yoga and enjoying it. You could be doing your computer, enjoying it. As long as you don't get burnt out and you get a proper perspective of life. Whatever you do, you should enjoy, you know.
Of course. What's the point?
That's right. You know. It's not peculiar to bonsai. Except that we're lucky that bonsai is to do with nature. And I believe that if you are in contact with nature and dealing with plants and all, that helps you get easy access to calmness and peace of mind.
Of
because
course.
if you look at lovely landscapes, that
Definitely.
straight away gives you calmness,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I was actually chatting to someone the other day about, you know, that feeling when you get when you walk through a forest and
Yes,
you're all
that's
alone
right.
and
Yeah.
you almost feel a little bit scared.
Yeah,
But I feel like sometimes that's just
the
you getting
silence.
scared, the silence and the presence of
Yes.
yourself.
And the birds
I
or things like that.
And I think bonsai can teach you a lot about
Yeah.
yourself and just feeling that presence
Yeah.
because, you know, you totally turn off when you're working on these big, beautiful trees.
See,
So
can you
it
hear
really-
the birds chirping away?
Yeah.
If
And
you
is
wake
there-
up,
is there an airport very close
Gatwick.
by? Is
If
that
you
Gatwick?
if you
Okay.
wake up tomorrow at 4 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
there will be bird song. It's incredible bird song.
Amazing. I will definitely
goes
be
on
waking
for
up at
half
4
an
o'clock.
hour.
What time do you normally wake up?
No, I don't get up till 8 or later.
Yeah, yeah.
But I work till 1 and 2 in the morning.
Okay.
I work till 1 and 2.
Okay, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna attempt to get up at 4. It might not happen.
Okay.
If you could only keep one of your trees, what would it be and why?
No, I have sold my favorite trees.
Okay.
When you're in business, if someone wants to buy it and you keep saying it's not for sale, then you don't have a business. I've ceased to be attached to any particular tree because at the end of the day, when you pass on, you can't take it with you, isn't it?
Of
So you've got to
course.
learn to
You got to learn
detach
to let
yourself.
Go. Of course.
Detachment, you know.
I also find with a lot of people in bonsai, they struggle to let go, and that's
Yeah.
why they never move
That's
to
right.
the next step of bonsai. So
Okay.
that's a beautiful
That's
analogy.
right.
Yeah. So, how do you hope your legacy will influence future generations of bonsai artists? And this is the final question.
Okay,
so we
I'm
can
very
chat.
fortunate. I'm very fortunate that I came into the YouTube quite by accident, and the fact that I have 500,000 subscribers, not views. I've got about 75 million views,
Quite incredible.
but 500,000 subscribers, and they all get so much enjoyment, solace, satisfaction, and there's somehow that peace of mind, you know. It's transformed their lives. So that I see as my legacy.
Yeah.
I know that I've written 9 or 10 books, and many people were introduced to bonsai through my books.
Yeah.
But the digital medium is so powerful. I would never write a book now because you can influence people so much more through the digital
Of
media.
course.
So I would like to think that, you know, the digital media, it can be resurrected or,
I
you know,
suppose
redone in all sorts of
You will
formats.
live on forever
Yes,
with that. Yeah.
because my daughter is into all this AI stuff and all that. She says that,
what do you think of AI?
no,
I'm curious.
even when it is dead and gone, you can still be resurrected in different forms. It's because
but
I'm a
it's- yeah.
technologist, I have great hopes for AI.
Yeah, of
There are all
course.
sorts of things can be done. Although I'm not so sure, nothing is impossible. AI can make a bonsai, but when you see what AI can do, I've seen AI generated robots can play table tennis very fast. If a robot can play table tennis fast at, you know, world standards,
Yeah.
I'm sure you can produce a bonsai through AI.
I think give it
You
a few
cannot
more
discount
years.
it. You
Yeah.
cannot discount it.
I just don't think AI's gone in that route.
Yeah.
You know.
May not be the same thing because it could
Yeah.
be very mechanical, but to say that it can't produce a bonsai would be foolish.
So I really hope you guys enjoyed the interview with Peter Chan. Don't forget to hit that bell so you don't miss any more exciting videos. I'll see you all next week.